This episode is brought to you by Matchmaker FM. If you want to find the perfect podcast guest or get booked on other podcasts, then why not head to the description to find out more. Hello and welcome back to the Audio Insider podcast. I am Rowan and of course I'm joined by Neve.
Hi there, how are you?
Hello,
you all
Neve.
right?
Hello, Neve.
How you doing?
Today we're going to be talking about the new Apple updates coming to the iPhone, Mac, blah, 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 blah. There's iOS 18, there is Apple Intelligence, their take on AI. And we're going to be taking a look at how useful it might be for you in the audio industry. So whether or not you're a podcaster, radio presenter, we'll be taking a look. And then we'll be moving on to something a bit different. We're going to play a game of sorts. We're going to take a look at some of the most iconic and popular podcasts right now, and we're going to be rating their artwork.
I'm extremely excited
a
for a game portion. But it's not without purpose, is it?
No.
No, because we're going to be talking a little bit. In last week's episode, we did touch on marketing. In terms of, again, marketing your podcast, marketing your radio show, whatever the case may be. And it does kind of play into that a little bit with branding, etc.
I mean, hopefully by the end of it, you'll know, say you're about to start a podcast, you'll know, oh, okay, I won't do that. I'll do that. I'll definitely won't do that. I don't know what that could be, but I'm sure there'll be a few things. But yeah, first of all, let's move on to item 1 on today's agenda. iOS 18, macOS Sequoia, and Apple Intelligence. They're all out, apart from Apple Intelligence, but we're going to talk about it anyway because that's probably the most important thing from this list. So if you weren't aware, the latest OS updates have come to the current Apple devices. And before we get started, I thought, let's just list a few of the features. Let's see what is popping. So Sequoia, I don't think I've ever used that in a sentence before, but I might do it again. Sequoia has got a few cool features. iPhone mirroring. You can now see your iPhone on a Mac.
That is actually
cool.
quite handy.
Yeah, you can do Duolingo on your Mac instead of your phone.
Double duo.
Yeah.
Duo.
Absolutely. There's a passwords app, which I am very excited about, but you're very underwhelmed by.
Well, I'm only underwhelmed just because we've already got the password keychain and it auto-fills.
Yeah, do
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's now in an app.
But why do I need it in an app?
Because I'm always going into settings to find a password.
But my storage is always absolutely at breaking point, if you will. So I
can't imagine it's a very big
another.
It's just
another drop in the ocean. I'm not interested.
Well, anyway, I'm excited for the passwords app.
But I'm excited about some other stuff.
Calendar, new calendar. I'm very excited about the new calendar.
On the grounds that I saw that it integrates the reminders a little bit better.
That is,
because that is one thing
that
I do find. Like I find the reminders app a little bit useless actually, because I've noticed that when I set a reminder and an alarm, oftentimes it won't even go off. And if you're on do not disturb, I didn't realise that that's within the do not disturb, but the whole point of a reminder is to disturb you.
Yeah.
So,
and you can now see those on your calendar. So if there's a reminder specific for a certain day, so like, I need to phone up this podcast guest on this date, you'll now see that in your calendar. It's all together, which is lovely.
I like that.
We'll get onto the phone side of things later, but I'm also very excited about that. And there's an updated calculator. Anyway.
But listen, there's a good thing there. Unit conversion.
Yeah, that is
How
cool.
many times do you look
That
up like a
is
recipe
very
and it's
cool.
like, 5 cups of or what have you.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I don't know, how big's the cup? Sorry,
How
American
big is
folks,
the cup?
please
These are the
explain
questions
to me.
we need answered.
Please, American listeners, please just comment.
What is a cup?
What is a cup?
Also, there's not really talking about iPad OSs, but the calculator app has come to iPad OS for the first time, people. Let's have a round of applause.
Woo!
Hold on.
We've got sounds now. Yeah.
Christ, that went on a bit.
Well, yeah.
That's very cool. And also you can do a thing now where you can do like math stuff. This is nothing to do with audio, but you can do maths and it works it out for you. Incredible.
That's cracking.
Moving on to iOS 18, and there's a lot of the same. You still get the passwords app, which, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And then we've also got the calculator and the calendar. So the calendar on the iPhone now is usable. You can use it. So before, it was just dots on a screen.
Yeah, it was pointless.
Terrible,
I had to have
terrible.
a specific calendar app, which defeats
Google
the point.
Calendar.
Yeah.
So basically now it's Apple Calendar is now Google Calendar. You can see stuff, and that's all I wanted. So that's great.
100%.
You can customize your home screen a bit more. You can make it like dark mode and that. It looks pretty yucky currently. Wouldn't advise it. There's a redesigned control center, which is all right. And then the Photos app has also changed a bit.
Right.
Cool. Moving on. Apple Intelligence.
This is
what I want to talk
juice.
about. This is the main bit. Yeah. So Apple Intelligence is essentially Apple's take on AI. It was inevitable. Apple is inevitable. And it's kind of cool the way they've approached it. So Google has obviously got their own AI, which they're integrating into like the Pixel phone. Samsung has also got their own version of that. Apple is doing the whole separate thing, but they are working with ChatGPT, which we have spoke about previously on the podcast when we were doing our episode on Spotify's AI. But ChatGPT is like the leading AI platform currently. And it's interesting that they're working with them rather than doing their own thing entirely. Like it is their own thing, but they're working with ChatGPT. But usually Apple likes to keep everything in-house, make their own thing. But no, this time Siri is going to be upgraded. So it'll actually be helpful, hopefully.
Don't be a hater. I love Siri.
Siri is terrible.
Siri's great.
I've got no time for Siri.
If I'm honest, I only use him to find my phone. I go, Siri, where are you?
Is your Siri a him?
Yeah.
Mine's a her.
I made him an Irishman.
Oh, that's lovely.
He is
that's
lovely.
Really nice.
He's delightful. It's like Colin Farrell telling me where my phone is.
Yeah, that would be enjoyable.
It's wonderful, yeah.
So yeah, technically you're now going to have 3 different AIs working on Apple devices. You're going to have Siri, ChatGPT, and then Apple Intelligence, which is technically classed as a separate thing to Siri. I hope you're still with me. So yeah, what does all this mean? Well, it's going to allow for better productivity, and that's kind of what we want to focus on today, because that's obviously how it's going to benefit you with your radio station, with your podcast, whatever it may be. So a few examples: you'll be able to proofread text for grammatical errors. Obviously, that's nothing new, but you can also now get it to suggest new ways of wording sentences. So say you're writing an important email to a potential guest. You can now get it to write in a few different writing styles, such as professional, fun, clear. So depending on the type of guest or the relationship you might have, that could be extremely useful. Another thing which I think is going to be great, and this is particularly good if you work within a company, you can get the Apple Intelligence to summarize long sentences and paragraphs. So obviously that's great for like long emails you don't particularly want to read all the way through. Or
TLDR, as they say.
Yes, definitely. This is the first thing that came to mind: Slack threads. Because we all know Slack threads or Microsoft Team threads, they can get so long.
Were you looking at that thread before with the 58? I was looking at that.
If you've been off for a day or even like a week, God forbid you've been off a week, there's a lot to catch up on. And this kind of AI is really good for just sort of giving you a quick summary, a few bullet points at the top. So you don't need to go and scour through.
It's going to make so many, not just workplace, but as well if you're in like education, it's going to streamline that massively. You know, when you, let's be real, when you have to read 100 pages before uni, whatever, you can get your main points.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not saying don't do the reading, kids. I'm just saying
absolutely
do the reading, stay in school.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the fact that it can streamline both work, education.
Very helpful.
It is. It's interesting. It's going to be completely new way of doing things, you know. Give it like 20 years and I think it's going to be crazy.
Don't worry. We will get on to the positives and negatives of all this in a bit, and we'll also talk about the whole ethical dilemma of AI. We won't be skipping that this time. We're not giving you a free pass, Apple. God damn you. But yeah, also notifications sorted into priority on lock screen could be handy if you get a lot of notifications, if you're in a heavy working environment.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
You know? If you go, your phone's blowing up every 5 seconds.
Oh, that's me. That's me. God, stop texting me.
Yeah.
Mum. Image Playground, basically it's just an image generation platform. This is probably the thing I hate about AI the most. So I don't really want to give that time of
Yeah,
day.
any kind of like creative,
yuck.
not keen on,
Big
not
yuck.
keen on.
You can also make your own emoji.
I'm keen on that.
Have you seen the pictures of them though? They look
they're not
horrific.
they're not great, but I enjoy, the.
Have you seen that one with the woman's like?
Procrastination element. Any game I play, I'm a customizer. I like to customize, so I'm excited on that level. But yeah.
Also on pictures, there's now photo scanning. So basically, the AI will scan your Photos app and find people and learn about people. So you could just type at the top like dad, and it will come up with all the pictures of your dad. I don't know how it knows who your dad is.
I'm not so
weird.
much happy with that, just because you know how it currently is, where it will create groups of people.
Yeah,
and
you have to give it the
always
information.
ends up being somebody,
wrong.
somebody as well, someone you've broken up with or something is like the top.
Yeah,
and I just feel there should be a better way. So hopefully, that
this
is
will
better.
help.
Yeah.
And then you can also create like collages and video montages with people, so that could be useful.
Oh yeah, and that aids creativity.
Yeah, definitely.
And our biggest argument against AI is that it hinders it. So aiding it is what we like. Yeah.
Also, you can clean up photos with unwanted people. So there you go. You can get rid of that ex-boyfriend.
Streamline editing as well, just like on a. Like if you're doing like social content,
definitely.
For
100%.
if you have like a podcast, whatever.
Yeah,
that's great.
100%.
But yeah, also removing pesky ex-boyfriends is also great.
It's also good. Always good. So that's kind of the bulk of it. There is obviously lots more, but this is the kind of stuff that I thought might be useful for like you guys. So it's coming to all of the Silicon Macs. So that's the Macs with like the M1, M2, M3 chips, and the same with the iPads. But for iPhone users, unfortunately, if you've got anything below a 15 Pro, so a 15, you're out of luck. So it's the 15 Pro, 16, and 16 Pro that's going to have this. Everyone else is unlucky, which...
That is the problem, isn't
it? We'll come on to that. We'll come on to this. Features aren't out yet, like I say. So even though iOS 18 is now out, it came out yesterday. Apple Intelligence is going to be gradually rolled out from October, I believe, although that could change. And also not all at once. So one of these features might come out in October, but the rest might not. It's all a bit unclear, but that from what I grasp, that is what I think. How can this help you? We've already kind of gone through, but writing scripts for podcasts and radio, obviously that's going to be so much easier. And it already is now with like the likes of ChatGPT, like social media posts as well. If you're not a big socials guy like myself and you need to write a LinkedIn post LinkedIn posts they're long. So easy now with something like ChatGPT. And then obviously go in and edit it. Don't just throw up what ChatGPT gives you.
That's the thing. It should always be an aid.
It's an aid, not a replacement.
It comes off quite stiff, I think, when it's just entirely AI.
LinkedIn is stiff enough as it is.
Yeah, so true.
Add a bit of personality.
So true. But as well, like, kind of linking onto that, like content fast tracking, again, if you're not a big socials guy, we did talk about the importance of this last week, but like socials are really important if you are doing like a podcast, radio, etc., etc. It's an unfortunate fact of life, and something like this could kind of fast track the making of that, because you're spending less time editing photos if it's already naturally enhancing and removing things that you don't want to be in there, and it'll be a lot quicker to like hunt for pictures to whack up. It just makes the whole process, I think. A lot easier.
Definitely.
Which is good news. So you can focus on making great content rather than, if your heart isn't in socials.
No. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people don't get into radio because they're just dying to post clips of it on social media. A lot of people just want to do radio.
Yeah, 100%.
So that could be a thing of the past, which is good. Searching through news articles. Now, this is something I thought could be great for the radio crowd especially, but even podcast crowd if you're doing like a news-based podcast or radio station. But obviously radio news is kind of integral to it. Sometimes you might have a news on every hour or like one news show a day or something like that. So news is important. So you want to be able to go through the daily news as quick as possible. News is changing so quickly now. You can't just like pick up the Guardian on a Sunday
and do like a daily, because
you need to be up to
news
date.
Stories break literally within like the hour, so
and some news stories will break an hour ago and be completely different by the next hour. So having the tools such as Apple AI it's Apple.
It's AI.
It's AI. Because that would be Apple AI. Apple.
It's AI.
Yeah.
Apple Intelligence
AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Anyway, having that tool will be helpful to just sort of get bullet points at the top of a news feed rather than having to go through the whole news article. Because as we know, news in our current day and age is quite difficult as it is, with so many ads popping up, or they'll write about 6 paragraphs before they actually get to the bulk of what they want to talk about. Or like a paywall.
I've noticed this with newspapers.
I don't know if that'll break, if we'll be able to break through the paywall.
I don't know. It's
we'll
well,
see.
no, but actually that's a good point.
How will that work?
I wonder.
Yeah.
Because the ones, for example, where it'll be like, oh, you need to pay, I don't know, $1.99 to read the rest of it, and I am very stingy, unfortunately, even though I would love to read the information. Can't be forking that out these days. You just can't. So that's intriguing.
Yeah.
There are a couple of questions there, I think, as well, of like, how is this going to work universally? But again, only time will tell.
Yeah.
Only time will tell. So we'll see.
Also, contacting guests and clients, have kind of already been over that, but that will be made a lot easier with ways to write in a more professional way, if that's maybe not your strong point. But then also, like we said, fast tracking socials, less time spent editing a photo. Something I forgot to mention is that cleanup is coming to Apple Photos. So that is essentially what Google's had for a long time, and obviously you could do on Photoshop for years and years and years, basically just removing a person from a photo or something that's in the way. So again, just like if you're not tech savvy, if you're not, you don't use Photoshop, just an easier way to fix photos. So they're a bit more social media friendly, shall we say. And then finally, just sort of general organization. As you can tell, that is kind of the key thing Apple's gone and tried to drive home here, is that your lock screen won't be as messy now. Your calendar will be easier to read. All this sort of stuff. And like I say, nothing here is that groundbreaking. This is all kind of stuff we've seen before. But it's just little features that will save you time.
Yeah,
in the long run.
That's the thing. I actually do think the vast majority of these are very, very, very useful. I am impressed as well, because it actually seems like Apple has sort of listened to what people are saying, what people are saying that they do and don't like, and they've taken it on board and implemented those features. Because I remember in the last couple of updates, most of the things they added were like new emojis. So so this
does feel like a big one. This feels
it feels good. I think
if you had to relate it to a previous update, I'd say, that one they did, I can't remember what iOS it was, but when they changed all the basically the whole vibe of the phone, like the app icons went from the old version to the new.
I remember I was sad in that era. I was, because it just felt like, again, the end of the iPod Touch era. Really.
But I think that's what we're going into now. We're going into this AI era, and I think our phones are definitely going to be changing because of it. They're going to be the main catalyst for this, for using AI, I guess. So nothing amazingly wowing. Is that a word? Wowing?
Wow.
Nothing to wow me that much. But stuff you could genuinely see yourself using, which is cool. And also, just something I forgot to mention, ChatGPT will be working with Apple on this, but your information, as far as we've been told, won't be sent to ChatGPT without your permission. So, for example, if you wanted to, you asked Apple AI, I need to stop saying it.
It's
Apple
AI,
Intelligence.
Whatever.
Yeah. Apple Intelligence. If you ask it a question like, where's the nearest coffee shop, and it doesn't know, it will then give you the prompt to say, do you want me to ask ChatGPT? And you say yes, and then obviously you've given permission. So it will never just send a request to ChatGPT without your permission.
Oh, okay.
So that's nice. That's cool. Whether or not, I mean, this could come back to haunt me in a few years when a story comes out about ChatGPT getting all this information that's not got permission for. But as far as we're aware, that's how it should work. So that's cool. Now, moving on to the stuff we usually like to talk about with AI, and that's sort of the questions, the big questions,
the ethical dilemmas, because that's the thing. Like, I think we're so concerned with it because, we do quite creative jobs, and I do think that in some respects AI threatens the things that we're passionate about, and that is just generally speaking. Yeah. Whereas something like this, I've actually thought about it, and I'm if anything, it will mostly aid creative endeavors, writing a script, I'm not saying that I would ever use like entirely ChatGPT,
No.
nothing like that. But the whole editing process, the whole actually formatting the script, for example, in the way that I would have used a thesaurus, stuff like that. Like it can be helpful there, per se.
It's a tool. It's not stealing a job. It's adding to the job. It's enhancing the worker.
Yeah, like it's again, in the past you would have had to go and find like an actual thesaurus, flip through, you know what I mean, to find like a word that's a similar kind of, because it doesn't just offer synonyms either. It kind of offers like a
whole new
sentence in a way. So it's not even like when you Google thingy synonym. So it's very helpful in that respect, particularly if you are creative and you've got writer's block and you think, I need some suggestions. I will sometimes be like, give me, 10 ideas for, like a topic to talk about on a podcast, whatever. And it'll give me those ideas and I'll look at them. I'll go, I could maybe work with that one. And then from there, I will do my own. So it kind of gives you the building blocks, I would say, for creativity. And it's great in that respect, and as well, the organization. If you are, running your own radio show or your own podcast, whatever, organization is like key. You're going to be inundated with like emails from listeners, callers, this, that, the other. Particularly if you're booking people onto interviews, stuff like that. All these little features like the calendar, the reminders, etc.
Definitely.
Subtly do help. They do, particularly if you're a very disorganized person like myself. We had the discussion about my lost key earlier today. So stuff like this really does help.
Well, with
for
radio
people
as well,
like me anyway.
I guess like people, a common misconception is that radio schedules stop at what's actually going out. Like you have a radio schedule, you have like who's going to be on every hour, what music's going to be played, all that sort of jazz, and that's it. Whereas actually you've got your radio schedule, that's for the listeners. You're going to have a radio schedule behind the scene, which has nothing to do with what's going out. And it's all just behind the scenes stuff like who we need to have a meeting with tomorrow. I don't know, just it could be anything really. And
advertising,
stuff
and
like that's the stuff you don't see. And this is where this sort of AI could be extremely useful for you.
Yeah, because again, like I said before, it just means you can focus on doing the thing you're actually passionate about, which is making great, audio content. And you're enjoying it, and it'll kind of detract from the more tiresome tasks, shall we say, that get in the way a little bit. Because sometimes I think in general, in any workspace, really, you can get bogged down with the sort of the little things, the little tasks like that. Oh, I've got to book this in, I've got to do this, that, the other. It kind of removes that stress, so you can put your focus elsewhere, which again enhances your job. So it's not. I'm always very mixed on AI. When you mention it, my first thought is, I'm not sure about that. Because I do think about again like AI images, AI art, that all of that debacle. AI in movies. Not keen.
No.
Hate all of that. But then I do also think about elements like this, which are undeniably, all of this sounds excellent to me. I can't lie. The vast majority of this, I'm thinking I would get a lot of use out of that.
Yeah.
The only thing I would kind of like say is, if you want to buy an iPhone now going forward, like a new iPhone, you don't really have any, there's a lot of people that are adverse to AI. You don't have any choice. That's the thing. In the matter.
So as far as I'm aware, there is no option to opt out of this. If you buy the latest iPhone, so like I say, the 15 Pro, 16 Pro, yada yada, that's it. You've got this integrated. Not currently, because it's not currently out, but at some point you will, unless you don't update your phone. But then I imagine when the 17 comes out, it'll just be there. So are we happy with that? Are we happy with this integration being shoved on us? I guess this kind of goes back to the episode we did about Spotify DJ, their AI, how you don't have to use it, but it's there. And they do kind of push it on you a lot. It's like they're at the top. They really want you to use it. Are we happy with how this is happening? And I guess like going off what you were saying, the main issue I have with AI is the issue with the arts. Is it the death of art as we know it because of how easy it is to produce art? Like if anyone can do it, it kind of takes away the thing of it. In this instance, apart from the image creation stuff, which we've already said we don't like, there isn't a lot of risk to the arts here. There might be risk to jobs. Like I said, how you can have a phone call now and that the transcription gets immediately written down on notes. That could be a threat to someone's job. It's not something most people think about because most people do have to do it themselves if they work for themselves or they're in sort of independent industries. But some companies hire people to do that very thing.
You know, that is an interesting one.
That's the thing for me. I don't have an issue with AI when it's aiding people, like we say. It's when it's threatening jobs that I struggle with it. And in this instance here, it's kind of like it could take away someone's job, but in the grand scheme of things, for the majority of people anyway, if you're not like a big boss at some sort of big company, it will be helpful and it's not going to really have an impact.
Like, can I, because obviously, you know, I don't work in AI, I don't quite know, but how does it work in terms of like, are there new jobs created, if you see what I mean, for people to monitor?
Well, this is
AI,
the thing. This is an argument that is often thrown back at people who are very anti-AI, and that is, well, no, it will create new jobs.
But does it?
But I don't see where it does, because there are obviously people that develop AI. From my like negative perspective, the whole reason that these big corporations are pushing AI is because you can replace workers. Like, it's going to make it cheaper for these big companies to, especially for like jobs like support and things like that.
100%.
That's and really a risk.
In the past, I remember it was, I mean, I don't remember, I wasn't alive. Why did I say that? But, you know, I'm kind of talking about the fact that, you know, there was more sort of actual manual laborers. And then obviously, like, you know, in factories, like, big machines came into play. And then obviously people lost their jobs. But then equally new jobs were created for people to, you know, do maintenance on the machines, monitor the machines. This is what I mean. I don't know whether, you know, if anyone could inform, that would be great. Because I don't know whether there's people that actively, like you say, there's developers, but do they monitor the trajectory of the AI? Do they check that everything's... I do notice when you go on ChatGPT, if you put something in, they give you something back and you're not happy with it, and you've asked a few times, you're still not happy, there is a button where you can essentially report it to ChatGPT and say, this isn't accurate, this whatever. So there must be, you know, there must be a team there that are going, right, we need to, but I don't know how it works.
But the thing, I guess for every job taken by AI, so say you're a sort of low level, you run a support chat for a tech company or something like that, and then they replace the support team with AI, say like 100 jobs are gone. I don't know if there is a role there for someone, like maybe they monitor the AI that's now running the support. Surely they only need like one person to do that, or a couple of people to do that. 100 people are not going to get new jobs within that. I guess this is a different discussion, really.
It is, but
it's interesting.
In conclusion, it's always going to be a difficult argument. You know, the only thing
you need to find a good balance with these sort of things.
It's just interesting to me because Macs have always been, to me anyway, you know, I don't maybe this is a subjective opinion, like for creatives love Macs, you know, even going back to like people producing like records out, some of the best albums of all time have been produced with Macs. So I like that they've taken a focus here that enhances creative jobs in some respects. But equally, I know so many creatives that are so against AI to the point of
touch it.
There was a film that came out this year called Late Night with the Devil. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. However, I clocked it straight away, and I don't know whether this is the creative spidey senses in me. They used an AI image multiple times, like it was very obviously AI.
And the backlash on that was
because it's disappointing, you know. It is disappointing because
it's not where you want to see it.
It was an indie film as well, like it was a low budget film, and a lot of people are saying, well, they couldn't afford to, you know, they cut. Like I understand that, I do, but equally, hiring an artist to do it when you're an indie film, it would have been and unfortunately it meant that people just went and review bombed the film. If you go on Letterboxd, it's got quite a low score, when actually it's a pretty good movie, because people were so disgruntled by, you know, it is a bit of a slap in the face of creatives. It is.
The way you're saying how Apple is kind of had this name for itself over the past 20, 30 years of being pro creatives. Like advert that came out either at the start of this year or last year, where they showed all the instruments and the artistic tools being crushed. Did you see it?
Yes.
Into, was it an iPhone or a Mac or something? No, an iPad, a slim iPad. And the backlash on that was incredible, because it was essentially like, this just doesn't feel very Apple. Like, Apple's always been like, we love the arts. Like, our tools are there to help the arts. They're not there to replace the arts.
Exactly.
And I think, credit where it's due here, that is kind of still the case. For now, anyway. God knows where this is going to go.
I worry the people that are so against, you know, again, it's marketed towards creatives, but so many creators are against AI. So I 100%, I don't know what. Yeah, it's confusing.
In the next couple of years, definitely there will be a resurgence in just basic equipment that doesn't have all this stuff. The way we're seeing the 100%. iPod coming back now, and obviously
the physical
vinyls
media
and stuff like
kind
that.
of renaissance. I don't know if you saw the Barbie phone recently. It's been floating around. People are
That's what
trading
people are
in
gonna
iPhones for just like flip phones from the 2000s. You know, back when it was like
I think
fun.
even like not even that extreme. I think just phones that do what phones did 5 years ago, like just go on apps, make calls, stuff like that. There is going to be people that don't want this. They don't want just AI being part of their lives all the time, or like they want, I guess, personality is lost with AI sometimes, and that is a risk that we're all going to be taking if we're stepping into a world where it's just thrown on us.
And I am intrigued to see how this is used in an audio space. I can't lie, in general, AI in an audio space, I'm always a bit wary of. But equally, you get artists that have been technically using forms of it as tools, like people like Imogen Heap. She's been using it as a tool for like 20 years. Like, she's like a trailblazer. And she still has to do a lot of it all. It's not like she's using it just solely for, I think Grimes has started doing it, et cetera, et cetera. So it can be an interesting tool, but again, it must be a tool. It can't be a replacement, essentially. I know there's a couple of artists that have already come about that are entirely AI. There's a pop star on TikTok that is entirely AI, and I know people say, oh well, you know, Hatsune Miku, people like that, they've been around for ages, but that's different, because that's an animation that somebody's created and voiced. That's not, do you know what I mean?
Well, because it's
AI,
different. I think people forget that AI doesn't just exist. It isn't just there. It's using thousands and millions of like bits of art that already exists online. It's kind of, and in a way, it's fraudulent.
Exactly.
But it's classed as AI, so it's like, I don't know. This is the sort of area where I just hate it.
We could go around in circles for ages about this, and we often do. We talk about AI quite a lot, but it is because it's such a hot
the biggest
topic.
thing in the tech world right now.
In an audio space, I'm just intrigued to see how this will be applied, because I know so many producers and record makers and stuff still use Macs and you know, iPhones. And I remember the recent marketing with the it had like an ad with basically every sort of creative visionary. It was like a picture of them using a Mac. It was like, you know, Paul McCartney, etc.
That wasn't that long ago, was it?
Andre 3000, whatever. So I'm intrigued to see how it kind of fares in an audio space, but I think it you know, it can be used for good also, and it's an interesting topic.
For now, anyway, AI is the talk, is the flavour of the month, isn't it? Everyone wants to talk about AI, and it will be probably for a couple more years. But we're already starting to see that tech companies are realizing that AI isn't enough to bring people in, because like
everyone's
tech companies
jumping on it, aren't they?
And it's all they've been talking about, like especially like Samsung, Google, who've been doing it for a while now with their like phones. People aren't buying phones because there's a new AI feature. They still like a fancy new button or something like that.
Just want to talk to people and connect with people. The whole point of a phone was to foster social connection, and I just worry that with AI, you kind of you're removing social people. You're removing people from the equation there. So
I think we've better wrap that one up. That's been a long one. That's been a big yap. AI really gets us going here.
Yapped. It really does. It really does. But I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
Let's move on.
We need to move on.
Let's get ranking.
To an excellent new segment that Rowan has come up with.
It's a new segment, never to appear again. Okay, so we've got a classic tier maker list here. You've probably seen one of these before. We're going to be ranking these podcast artworks from Holy Moly to Big Yuck. So with A, B, C, D in the middle, because it would be a bit boring if we just did Holy Moly.
You've got to do the, not everything can be Holy Moly level. Holy Moly is like God tier, just for reference.
Whoa, holy moly.
Zooey mama.
And Big Yuck is like, I don't even want to look at that.
Yeah,
that's
foul,
Big Yuck.
And again, nothing personal.
No. Unless we make it personal, which we
100%,
might. But in case we don't, it's not personal.
We're doing this to drive home again, the importance of branding.
Yeah.
And it's so important to down to, what font you use. If the font is kind of sloppy or low budget looking, whatever, it can put people off from listening. Before
we go on to the tier list, here's a few points you should probably hit and we're going to be looking for. Mm-hmm. So we need a logo. And a good logo at that. And this needs to be used across all your branding. So you'll see it on the artwork, but you also see it on your website. That is kind of basic essentials.
And would recommend, if you can, if you have the facilities, outsourcing, maybe getting an actual graphic designer
Don't do it yourself if you can't. Don't use Canva if that's... use Canva, but not if you're bad at Canva.
Yes, exactly.
Don't just use a template. It needs to be... good. If it's a personality podcast, so it's all based on like you or like you and someone else, then have your pictures on the artwork, because it's no good it being called John and Simon's podcast and then we
don't know John and Simon. You want to put a face to definitely. A voice, because it's all about connecting with the host.
You need to set the tone. So if it's a fun podcast, maybe use bright colors. If it's a true crime podcast, you're not going to use bright colors. You're going to
use black, grey. That's the most common.
So also don't go too fancy with things. Make it clear and concise.
Not too much text, I would say.
Not too much text. No. And then very minimal imagery as well. So if you do have a picture of yourself and who was it? Simon and John. Simon and John. Just have Simon and John. Don't also then have John's nan in the background going, just Simon and John. Also consider dark mode. This is a big thing now on pretty much all podcasting platforms. So if you're having a black background, it's just going to blend into the background. But likewise, if you have something really starkly bright, that might come across a bit strange. Just consider that. But also then consider your competition. Have a look around, see what other people are doing. And then ask family and friends and see what they think. Don't just upload it without getting any feedback, because sometimes you spend so long working on something that you kind of just sort of become immune to issues with it. And then, as we said, if you're using Canva, save it as a Canva. Don't just save it as a JPEG and then delete that Canva file. Is that a thing you can do? I don't really know Canva very well.
I think so. Yes,
okay.
I think.
But also, if you're using Photoshop, save it as a PSD, so you can come back to it and edit it later on if you need to. And you probably will need to. Let's do it!
On to the game!
Okay, so first up, we have The Rest is History.
So, in my opinion, I know we're starting strong, but I've always thought this one goes crazy, just because... The font, it's giving historical.
It is historical.
The images, again, not only giving historical, but the sort of placement or kind of
they're looking at each other.
Like a Clash of the Titans kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? And I think the illustration that they've used is really good. And again, plain backdrop. The colour as well. Strangely, that kind of like rich red I have always associated with history. Yeah. It's giving library,
books.
University.
Old books.
I really like this.
I like it.
I know some people might not like it because of the illustrative level, but is it a bit... I don't know whether it's holy moly level.
I don't think it's holy moly. I think I like it. It's simple, it's straightforward. You know exactly what it is. I don't love the font, if we're being really picky.
No, I know what you mean, but for me, it only goes because it's an illustration beneath it, you know?
The name is also good. I've got to give a shout out to the name.
I do know what you mean. Typically, that kind of font, I would think, it's a bit cheap looking. It's a bit,
I'd say, I just realised this isn't a great segment for a podcast, really, because they can't actually see the images.
What? can you not put them on there?
I mean, I can. We'll describe the images, but if you want to see the images, go to the video version of the podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, do that.
That would be highly helpful.
I actually didn't consider that until this very second. But yeah,
I give it an A. Would you give it an A?
I think an A. I think at least an A.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
I'm not saying it's full holy moly, but it's close in my opinion. It's good. It's a good start. Great start.
Next up, we have newscast or election newscast, depending on what's happening, from BBC.
Okay, first off, the first thing that's got me in a good way is politically neutral colours. I imagine that was kind of a discussion. That being said, only just politically neutral colours. Like the shade of orange is slightly off, the shade of blue is slightly different. So I don't think they've made a huge amount of effort there.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't love this one.
It's a bit basic,
bland.
And also...
This looks like a Canva job.
You know, I will admit, yes, these are small. But I can't actually read the does it say election.
It
Can't
says
read
election.
that as clearly
I don't
as
mind
newscast.
that bit because it looks like a vote, like a slip of paper. So that's cool.
It's like a sticker to me. I don't know.
I think
I'm not keen. However, I think it definitely looks quite profesh. So I think at least like a C, maybe a B. I don't think it's D. It's definitely not D. You want to put it in D?
I want to put it in D.
I
really don't like this one. It doesn't even say BBC on it.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Like, that's surely the only reason you go for this.
It kind of gives Olympic branding as well, you know. For like
it doesn't give me news.
No, do you know what? I've changed my mind. D.
D? Are you sure?
Because the branding is too... The branding isn't...
It's just nothing.
There's not much branding, you know. When I think of the election, I wouldn't think of that.
Yuck.
So, yeah.
Oh, no, not yuck, but D.
Yeah.
Next up, we have The Rest is Politics. And this isn't the normal Rest is Politics. They have a separate one called Rest is Politics Leading, which I will admit I've never listened to.
Just get me out. Let me get my peepers on this.
So yeah, that is an issue. So first of all, you can't actually see The Rest is Politics very well at the top. Leading is the main thing here. And then you got Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart. Is that Rory Stewart?
Yeah.
They're there. So points for that, because they're there and people like them. But...
I'm going to be a hater straight up.
I don't like it, really.
I hate it. And I'll tell you why I hate it. It gives me like Fortnite font. Like it looks like a video game or something. It does, yeah. And then also the colour. Literally the colour combo. That shade of red and blue and yellow. None of these colours go...
The reason for the red and blue is because Alistair is an ex-Labour and Rory's an ex-Tory.
I definitely get that. And that's I know
cool, what you're saying.
But the yellow...
Should have just gone white,
I
maybe?
just don't understand... Or they should have won like a little rosette moment. They could have been... They should have done like The Rest is History. Like a kind of a, you know, like a closer...
But why leading? What does that mean? That also doesn't make it very clear what this is, why this is different from the other one. You know what? I'm just going to go straight away.
Big York.
Big York.
Big York. Ew.
Yeah, Big York.
Yeah, sorry, no hate, but hate.
Next up, Empire. Have you ever listened to Empire?
Is it about the British Empire? Because
it's a history podcast. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not listening to this one either.
So I really like how clear the font is.
Yeah.
I like that it's the main.
It's got the British flag on it.
And the fact that
I guess...
could work out, you know, what it's potentially about.
Yeah.
That's great. That being said,
maybe too minimal.
It's a bit bland.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like the editing on the flag. It's the contrast is a bit. I don't know.
Should we give this one a C?
Yeah, like a C. It's not awful.
It's not awful, but there's room for improvement.
And it does look quite professional. Maybe a B actually.
A B?
Because I think it's quite profesh and I think it's quite clear, but it's not. It could be better. It could be elevated massively.
It could be. Next up is Rotten.
Is this a true crime? What is this?
I have not seen this one.
Because the font is like misery. It's like a typewriter.
So giving it benefit of the doubt that it is true crime, I like this one. I think this is cool. I think it's got the lead personality there. The text sort of says true crime. It's got the colours of true crime, like red and blue. I like it.
What's in the backdrop?
I think it's like a studio or something. I don't know.
I personally do. I will just say this. I think the photo is too edited. I think it's a little bit. I don't know. It's
not minimal enough.
Photo editing is obviously very important. It gives it a professional edge. But I'm just. It looks a bit too squeaky clean for a horror podcast, so I'm not going to give it that high. But I don't hate it.
Should we give it a C?
I think it's a C.
B? I give it a B. I think it's on the same level as Empire.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's harsh to put that below Empire.
Yeah, and I do like, you look great, girl. So
next one is Stick to Football from Sky Sports.
Looks like Wreck-It Ralph.
It does look like Wreck-It Ralph, doesn't it?
It's the same font, the same positioning. It looks like Wreck-It Ralph.
I don't hate this.
I don't hate it, and I do like that they've gone for something different rather than just showing like a ball or whatever.
Yeah, and clearly here it's a situation where they have almost too many presenters to pack on. So they put the text in the middle like a ball, and then they put the presenters around it with the Sky Sports logo at the bottom.
Ralph.
It does look like Wreck-It Ralph, but I think it ticks all the boxes. I can't really think how they can improve this.
They've got all the things that you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's not wowing me. It's a bit boring, but I would say an A.
An A?
Yeah, I think
it's on the same level as the rest is history.
Oh, it's definitely on the same level.
It's on the same level as that. So yeah, I would say that. What's this?
The next one is what is that?
It's not giving history.
Short history.
No, it's not giving history.
I think it is because it's got like historical events going on around the side.
Yes, that's cool, but the colour is giving me more geography. I don't know. It's giving sea.
I think we might have our first disagreement
planet Earth. I don't know.
I like this one. I really like this one.
I don't dislike it, and I like that. Again, I like the little illustrate. They've clearly got somebody in to do some artwork, and that's cool.
Yeah. I think it's clear. It's got a nice colour combination. I mean, the font is good. I like everything about this one. I really like it. I'm giving it
a B.
A B?
But if you want to give it a holy moly...
Well, I was going to give it
then
an
let's
A.
give it an A because it's an average.
Well, no, we'll give it... No, we'll give it a B.
Yeah.
Just stick it on B. Next one is political currency, and
pictures of both. Nice fonts.
I like this one. My only issue with this is
I don't know if I do it in white.
No, the white font blends in a bit.
Yes.
The issue I have with this is it's a bit too close, and I know you could probably say this about all of them, but it's a bit too close to the rest is politics, and I know that's the point because they've got an ex-Tory and an ex-Labour.
I just wish they'd done a back-to-back 80s sitcom
that would be more fun.
I said it. I wish they'd done like a
I like it.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
I hate this guy.
Like a fight.
Get him in the ring.
A bit more playful because I think that's the tone a little bit of the podcast. That's why you've put people with opposing views. You don't want it to be nasty brawl, do you? It's just like a playful.
I would love that. Why not?
Yeah,
I'd give this a C at best because there's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just like it's nothing.
I do quite like this kind of font and this kind of colour grade, and it gives me like The Guardian. I don't know. I think it's quite conducive to the people that are going to be listening to it. But yeah, C. Go on because it's nothing. It's nothing.
No. Also, they look so sad.
Yeah.
Are they all right?
No. Yeah.
God. Next up is the news agents from Global. Our friends at Global. I don't mind this one.
Nothing special. I've got to be honest. It's nothing special.
It's definitely better than newscast.
Good, strong font. Can read what it is straight away. And I am a glasses wearer, so it's good. It's good that I can see it in small.
It's a white
font.
background as well, with
and
just
it's
the leads.
professional looking.
Yeah.
That being said, if I had to be really picky, that font and that colour, it gives me like a medical, like a
there's a lot going on.
ER, like a Grey's Anatomy, like a medical sort of drama kind of thing.
Yeah.
But again,
Have you ever listened to the news agents?
No, I've not. Have you?
It always starts with the guy off Pointless. What's he called?
Richard.
No,
Alexander Armstrong.
Alexander Armstrong. And he goes, the news agents. But he says it's so deep. I didn't know he could go that deep. Anyway, we're going off track.
Yeah.
I think it's like a C. It's fairly inoffensive. It does all the jobs, but it's a bit
just
bland.
It's giving, it's a doctor's vibe. I don't know. I'm just not.
Are you happy with C?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Okay.
Now, this one, we were talking about this one prior.
I think we need to hold any personal feelings we have against the podcast, put them to the side.
Do I personally not enjoy the image? I don't enjoy the image because it scares me. It's scary. I don't like it. It's manic. That being said, do I think it works with the tone of the podcast?
Probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. This kind of manic expression. I
will say, whenever I see the Spotify logo in the corner of a podcast, it's a turn off for me straight away. I'm like,
I do know what you mean.
Spotify
There's no
original.
need. Why? I understand they want to say that it's Spotify original, but because you have not done it in
paid a lot of money.
Because it works so great as it's kind of like a Starbucks thing. It's a nice, neat, clear logo.
But when it's like a big conglomerate,
in the corner, I'm not keen on that.
I know we've had a global one and we've had a BBC one so far, but something about Spotify because it's if I'm listening to it on Spotify, especially, it's kind of like they've got the monopoly with it, and that just sort of makes me go, yeah. So I think sometimes not having the brand, not having the sort of the company that made the podcast on there is a good idea. Gives it more of an independent
more of
feel.
a personal brand, because yes, it is distributed by Spotify and stuff, but Joe Rogan is its own entity. That's his.
What are we going to give this one?
Do you know what? Genuinely, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you'd have taken away the Spotify logo in the corner, that could have been an A or even a holy moly for me.
Oh no, it's not a holy moly.
I don't like the image. The image is
to give
not.
that man a holy moly.
I'm not key. Me personally.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If we're offering opinions, obviously
give it a
it's
B?
not my sort of thing.
I think that's fairly conservative.
I just think it's a great logo, personally.
Oh,
I think
we're going to have to give him an A.
I think it sums him up, the show
We'll give him an A, but I'm not.
Sorry,
we'll leave it. I
and
don't want to talk about it anymore.
It's great. I love a logo in a circle against a plain background is great because your eye is immediately drawn to
What's
this
on
kind
his head?
I don't know. And
Let's move on.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's not go into the semantics of Joe Rogan.
Okay. I'm just going to start off. The rest is entertainment. I hate this one.
Do you know what? It's so annoying because the top half of the image has potential. The Hollywood sign, that's great. Love that. And it gives this kind of once upon a time in Hollywood. That's great. And the colour grading's good. It's a good backdrop. And then you ruin it with these overlaid photos where they're not even... You didn't even get a picture of them stood together. You just felt, you kind of lazily overlaid... no hate to whoever's done it. It's
no hate to any of the designers that made this.
Kind of overlaying of is it Richard Osman? Yeah,
Richard Osman and
I'm not.
She's a
it had potential,
reviewer,
and they've ruined it. What they should have done is like them sort of like sat together. Maybe you could have had them with some popcorn, something like that.
There's so many better things they could have done with this.
Because again, the backdrop is so good. I really like the backdrop.
Here's my issue with this. And again, this is kind of, I guess I can't really give this as a complaint because we're doing it as themselves. But this is just exactly the same as every other The Rest Is. And there's so if you don't know, The Rest Is, insert whatever, is owned by Goalhanger Podcasts, and all their podcasts are called The Rest Is, blah, blah, blah. And they all kind of follow the same sort of lines. And this is just so boring. Like, it's just like...
And again, I've got to be 100% with you. The branding there, I'm always a little bit unsure of. Because The Rest Is History makes sense because it's like a pun.
Yes, that makes sense.
The Rest Is Entertainment doesn't make sense. But I understand that The Rest Is History is massively popular, and I get that they want to springboard off that.
No. And also they've got the Goalhanger logo in the corner.
Up cover-wise. I'm sorry, it ate it up.
Can I...
No, it's not Big York. And because the background is good. It's a D.
Give me a D.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a D.
Fine. FC Bullard.
I mean, it's giving football.
It is football.
It's really giving football. It's giving Football Manager.
It's got the two guys on it.
It looks a bit fun. It looks like, I'm going to be listening to the lads talking about the beautiful game. And if that was if that's my sort of thing,
it's
absolutely.
Coming home.
I think that's quite good.
I'd give it a B. It's nothing incredible.
I'll be honest, the quality of the image I'm a bit about. But a lot of sports photography and stuff like that I have noticed is kind of similar to that. It's got this sort of glossy kind of vibe.
They're having a nice time.
Yeah.
Cool. The Regulation Podcast.
Part of me actually really likes this.
I see what they're going for.
I do like it, but equally, this has been done so many times. The Ordinary skincare brand does exactly the same thing.
It's not
Cards Against
wow
Humanity, like this kind of like American Apparel, like it's been done before, this sort of really minimalistic. But I do like the way it looks, so...
I'm going to say B or C.
I'm going to say B just because me personally, I do like that kind of minimalistic design, even though I do think it's a bit bland here.
The Rest Is Politics, another Rest Is. But I don't know, did I mention that these all come from the top podcast currently on Spotify?
Yes,
did I say that?
yes. And
in case you're wondering why we've
they
chosen
all do
these
pop
ones.
off.
The Rest Is Politics, I think, is one of the better ones.
Much better colour situation here.
You got Labour red, Conservative blue.
Yeah, exactly. But my thing, I don't know why we've done a diagonal. Why have we done a diagonal if we're not going to put him in there?
That is bizarre.
You know what I mean?
That is
like, why have you not done
weird.
either a split down the middle or a diagonal?
That would have been so much better.
Yeah, or they could have done, again, the sitcom. Why... Guys, if anyone is listening to this that has any involvement in this
I
kind
wonder
of thing,
if like these things
please
get commissioned and they create the artwork for it to sort of pitch it, and then they just use that artwork and they use sort of generic photos they've already got. I don't know.
I just want a little playful photo shoot, a little,
yeah.
a little,
have you seen
hedge nozzle kind of thing?
The Kermode and Mayo one? That's fun. They've got
I
remotes.
love
That's not on here, but I would give that a holy moly. It's a shame it's not here.
I love the podcast as well, and I love the people in the podcast.
I think that is
it endears you to them already. I
reckon we give this a.
Nah, B. It's definitely not an A.
All
definitely not.
Okay. Electoral dysfunction.
Love the title.
I like the title.
Thought it could be a bit more playful.
Also,
I know it's serious,
you'll like this.
That
is an original photo shoot there.
Yes.
They're all looking up. They're all going, oh, what am I like? They're all doing a bit. Oh.
It is, but it still looks very, very, very photoshopped.
I just think I like it, and I like that it goes a bit slanted.
Because it's a dysfunctional. I do like that.
It's
but
a Sky
I just can't work out the tone
one.
here. Is it serious? Is it a bit playful? Presumably from
I've
the
listened
title,
to it
it's
a
playful.
bit, and I think it is a bit playful.
Because the title does give that.
Yeah. I think this is a B.
That's good. It's good. It's nothing special.
No, it's very straight to the point, isn't it?
I'm just going to say it. This one goes crazy.
This
one goes crazy.
Mental. This is like Hitler, Stalin, and Kim Jong-un have started a podcast. And it's about like their sort of crazy antics.
I honestly, I'm sorry, it goes hard.
It does.
You say what you
know
want.
exactly what you're getting
and
here.
as well, it looks a lot like, like the posters of Mao. So you got a little nod to Mao there, but it also looks like an old poster of Stalin.
I like this one.
I'm sorry to say, I can't believe I'm saying this for a podcast about dictators again.
Hold on, I think I know where you're going.
I personally... Are we actually doing stuff?
Can we do this? Because we're just rating the artwork. We're not rating the people. Let's make that very clear. If it was the people, they'd be getting a big yuck.
Yes.
Big yuck. But God, it's long. Isn't
that
it?
Also.
It's in the holy moly.
Stalin, you've HM'd it. That goes crazy.
So good.
And it also sums up what it's because dictate. Do you know what I mean? You didn't even need to put the word.
No, parenting is hard with Josh Widdicombe and what's he called?
Oh,
they have put their names on there, but I just can't read it.
Rob
Beckett.
I like this podcast.
I don't like that they put the names on. I don't think that's necessary.
And I get why they've done it because it's like a child's building.
Yeah, no,
blocks.
I like
that's
that.
Cute,
I like that.
But I can't read it when it's
an original photo shoot.
This is the thing, though. It's
not a fun photo shoot.
The way we're viewing this, yes, it's slightly smaller than it would be, but if I was looking at this on Spotify, whatever, the size isn't too dissimilar. So I don't understand why they've not catered to the fact that, the font will be read on a smaller screen.
I think they're banking on people who like these two comedians going, I like them, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to listen to it. And they're not asked about what it's called or what it's about. It could have been better.
Like, it would have been good if they'd, been holding or, playing with the, kid, what I mean? Like, little kids or something.
Again, Spotify original. So that's minus points for me.
Again.
It takes up such a big chunk of the
there's too much going on here.
Image.
There's too many colours. There's too many...
I'm saying D.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's a good podcast. I like it.
Next up, glad we had this chat.
This gives the branding of those, it ends with us, Colleen Hoover books.
It's exactly
Whenever
the same.
you go into Tesco,
it's exactly the same.
First thing you see, and it's exactly the same.
I hate that, and
colour,
I hate this.
size. Hate that.
Why pink?
I just
no. And why is she half over the text? Like they could have.
And it's a shame, really, because I know why they've probably done this. It's because they think we want women to listen to this podcast of a certain age.
Oh yeah, nothing against the podcast again.
What do women like? Pink in bit like that's probably it's gone as basic as that, and it's just a bit disappointing if I'm honest.
I reckon
could be, and again, pink is my favourite colour, and I'm not impressed. So
can we say D? D or C? Is D too harsh?
C.
All right,
just
we'll
because I can clearly read what it is. There's a picture of the lady, but it does give, it ends with us. And that's the thing. You need to make sure that your branding isn't too similar to another very popular household. How many times have we seen one so far and we've gone, oh, it gives this.
And
it
speaking
gives
of which, the rest is football. Again, another goal hanger
Failed
one.
Pun again.
It just doesn't make any sense. But credit where it's due. It's green. It's clear.
See the house.
You can see the house. You know who they are.
Why are they in different directions? Why is no, they are, but they're not. Gary Lineker.
It's just the copy and paste format. Yeah, it's the copy and paste format of all of these. It's just
he's facing the same way as this guy on the right, and it's like what he should be more in the mid. I
think it's a C.
And then why is it not central? The title. I don't know. For me, unfortunately,
should we say C or D?
It's a bit of a graphic design
I'm sick
mess.
of these. Let's just C. Done. Move on. What the hell is this? Back and Arthur. What does that say?
Luana,
the podcast, another global one.
The neon's giving like club or like holiday.
Yeah.
But then these girlies aren't really giving me club or holiday
They're
because
just having a lovely time. They're going,
so why are we screaming?
I
don't know
hate
what
it.
this is about.
I feel nothing with this one.
If it's the girlies having fun, why have we gone with like a
what is this? Have
kind
you
of Malibu
noir?
No, God, no, I don't know. And also I'm going to say the font is a little bit.
The font lets it down big time,
and the neon situation makes it think of a Channel 4 kind of. I don't know.
I'd say a D.
It's disappointing because I like the colours.
Yeah,
I do like
we'll
the
give it a C.
colours,
We'll give it a
but
C
I
for
just
the
think
colours.
it's. Yeah, I don't know. If you're going to do a neon sign, in my opinion, do a black backdrop to really make it stand out, you know?
Quiet Riot? Is that what it's called?
Not sure about this because it's very clear.
I don't really know what this is.
The thing at the bottom of the T.
I get what they're going for, but I don't really understand
what
like
this
is without looking more into it.
like a kind of a school-based.
What is this? Can we Google
Yeah,
this?
Google
is this
this.
cheating though? Because we're kind of basing the others off.
We shouldn't really.
I don't think we should
the
Google
reason
it.
we haven't researched into them, I think, is just because
it's just good to go off it from
going
the cover
blindly.
alone. Because
a
lot of people do that.
And
That's how most people click on.
I know with the Joe Rogan thing, I did say, oh well, it goes with his brand, but it is undeniably a good one. I'm sorry, but it is. This, on the other hand, is okay. It's good.
I think we give them the benefit of the doubt because we don't really know what's going on or going to be talking about. But I think a D.
No, that's
really?
harsh. At least a C.
But what is it? What is it?
I can read it. It's clear. The backdrop is white.
Okay. Right.
You know, it's not my choice personally, but look.
Rest is money. I hate it.
Again,
I hate
this is
so
another
much.
failed
This is
pun.
so dull.
I don't know. And also, why is there nothing money related?
D.
Could have had like a little shower of money, or
anything.
like or them worrying about money, or
anything.
maybe we should be creative directors for these things because we've got the ideas there.
The thing they're definitely doing here is it's the person involved, isn't it? They want to put the names on there and that's it. But people see that these two leading politicians, news politicians, and go, yeah, that sounds good.
But it's just so disappointing because the rest of his history is the best one by far, and it doesn't have the presenters on it. So why would you not look at that and go, that works?
Well, I guess because they're two historians that aren't particularly well known.
Well, they are now, but
they are now. But at the time they weren't, so they didn't feel the need.
I just wish they'd done the same. I understand getting that, like I get it completely, but I just wish he'd done an illustration vibe with the same, just a different colour, the same font. That would be great because then they'd look great together in like the store, wouldn't they? They looked really good together. But yeah, not keen.
Next up is Modern Wisdom.
Looks a bit like the cover of an autobiography, but that's not a bad thing.
But I think that's probably the point.
That's not a bad thing at all. The backdrop, big fan of, because again, it's very clear,
very easy
to
read,
the point, very sleek. Yeah. I actually do quite like this.
I like this one. I don't think it's not like holy moly levels, but I think it's certainly...
It's not holy moly levels, but it's very clear. And again, this is what I mean. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah. And you know what the title Modern Wisdom, it's going to be about.
He's going to give us some wisdom. Do you know what? The way he's like sort of the expression, I trust him. He looks wise. Yeah. He looks strong. Yeah. And that's great.
Big fan.
This is the Makita Oliver and Lily Allen one,
yeah,
yes?
Miss Me from BBC Sounds.
So I could be wrong here. The backdrop, it kind of reminds me of like a childhood photo. And I know they have been friends for many years.
Is that not the point? Because they kind of stood like they're taking a photo,
and
like an awkward photo.
And that's great, and I like that. But the font covering up I don't know, it could be better. Maybe they should have done like a proper school photo. Yeah. Because that's what it's giving, and that's great. But just with a smaller font. But I like it. I can see the girlies. Yeah. I can tell that they're friends. I can tell there's a personal vibe. At least a B.
Yeah. What are we going to say about having... Because previously,
even an A,
with the newscast one, I said it was against it to not have the BBC on there because that kind of aided it. Here, to have the BBC logo, are we going to criticise it in the same way we've been criticising like the Spotify
logo?
Logo?
In my opinion, the BBC logo has always been less intrusive because it's white and it's got gaps between it.
And it's always in the same place at the top.
It's always in the same place. Yeah. And actually, a BBC mark...
It's kind of
it gives it quite a professional...
They built up a respectable name, shall we say, whereas Spotify's yet to do that.
And Spotify in the corner in a black thing is not, whereas this is overlayable. And with BBC, you can change the colour. That's what's brilliant. You can change the colour if you need to.
I'm going to say an A.
An A.
I'd give it an A.
I just wish the font was slightly smaller.
Yeah.
But it's a great concept. I love the creative vision behind it.
I like this one. This is Shits and Gigs. It's clear. It's got an illustration of the two hosts having a good time. I think it's clear that it's just a fun, down-to-earth podcast. I like it. I don't think it's holy moly, but I think it's certainly an A.
I don't like it, and I'll tell you for why. I think the colour doesn't really go. The colour to me gives more of a sports podcast. I don't know.
No, I disagree.
I think for
disagree.
I don't know, a deeper like a deeper yellow or a deeper, because I'm seeing wait, hold on.
I think yellow's been overdone though with these funny podcasts.
What is this? So is it just like a?
I don't know. I've not seen it, but I'm guessing it's just a conversational.
I don't really
podcast.
know. I don't hate it.
Can we give it an A?
A B. I don't think it's next level.
But it's not like.
I tell you what, it's one of
better
the
than a
better
literal
comedy.
dysfunction.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
strong.
No, put it on A, and I put it on A.
Okay.
Just about. It's not the highest A, but I definitely know what you mean. It looks a lot more professional. I like the illustrative. I love an illustration. If it's done well. No offense to Back and Arthur. So,
right.
Actually,
Next.
no, I like it. I'm telling a lie. I've changed my mind.
I'm into a roller coaster this. The LOL podcast.
Is this like the toys? It's the same font as the toys.
No.
But is it not?
No. I think it's just people having.
But it's too similar to the toy that's also called LOL.
I think this is just like, it doesn't really give you much, does it?
I don't like it. I'm sorry.
No.
It's giving kids. It's giving.
It's designed.
But is it designed for children?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to give it a C.
It's a bit juvenile.
I don't think it's bad.
Again, why am I thinking of a kid's toy?
I just don't think it gives you much. Like, same with the Quiet Riot one.
I'm not that keen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Smosh reads Reddit stories.
I fall asleep to this.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've always fallen asleep to like Reddit stories, but I like Smosh. I've liked them since I was like 12. The only thing I'll say here is, it doesn't like. The thing is with Smosh, because they're such an established like brand, you don't need to have pictures of them on there because people are already clicking for that.
That's fine.
I
also think it's just straight to the point.
It's clear. Having the Reddit colour on it, that's great. I like that. I'm not sure about the colour combo.
That's not the Reddit colour.
The reddy orange at the bottom is.
Yeah, but on Reddit, it's not in the Reddit colour.
But it's like a reddy orange Reddit.
No, Reddit's like red.
It's ready.
It's up
Firstly,
here.
Just
red
for,
or
just for,
red or orange.
Rowan is colourblind.
I am, but it's definitely not that. I can tell you that.
Rowan, you're not.
That is not the Reddit colour.
The more bright it is.
That is not the Reddit colour.
Literally,
look, there's Reddit up there. That's
the bottom
red.
one. Yeah, but that's already on. Anyway, the point being, I'm not sure why pink and yellow with a red. I don't know. But
I give it an A.
It's okay. It's a bit basic, but
it
okay,
an A. I think it just gets the job done well.
It's basic, but yeah, like you say, it gets the job done.
All right, let's storm through these because we are getting on. Things are about to get weird. But that's the podcast name. I'm not just saying things are about to get weird. I don't like this. I'm saying a D.
I don't know. No, D's harsh.
I just think it's weird.
The image quality is strange. It looks like AI.
Yeah, which I guess kind of works. All right, can we say C? I'm just trying to plow through these. D? All right, okay.
D, you're right. It's not great.
Diary of a CEO. I guess
I will admit, like it kind of goes crazy.
It does well,
but I don't know why he's done DOAC, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not thinking Diary.
I guess it's because it doesn't fit.
But then he's written
well.
underneath the Diary of a CEO.
Or is it because it's so well known now that's all he has to do?
I don't know.
I think it kind of follows the same principles as Modern Wisdom.
Yeah, it's a good
kind
picture.
of like
it's a very well. It's a good quality.
Yeah.
The backdrop's plain. Maybe
I think an A.
It fits the brand as well. I think of his kind of shtick.
We need to talk. I think again, this is kind of copying those two, but it's not done as well.
Is this guy from Celebs Go?
I have no idea who
Yeah,
this guy is.
I don't like the way they faded his shoulders in.
No, I think
it looks like he's floating out from the. I'm not keen on the actual editing here, but the photo is good.
Should we say a C?
Yeah,
sort of subpar. Next one.
Really like this. I like this.
I hate this.
Why
I was
do you hate
gonna
it?
say we shouldn't even talk about this because it's not doing the main thing we say. There's no logo.
But it's
there's no text.
But that's what I
is
mean.
it?
It's so minimalist to the point.
But what is it?
Of,
what is it called? I don't even know what it's called.
I do know what you mean. I do exactly know what you mean. But I really
I don't think we can recommend this one.
Maybe if they had the font in a much smaller, I just think it looks good in terms of like, it's a great logo.
It can look good though, but
it's a
if
great
you don't know
logo,
what it is,
but they should have put underneath what the podcast is called.
They at least put the
right.
name.
I don't think it's. I think
all right, should we say D then?
D, yeah, you're right, because there's no information.
Ugh.
Can we? I know we shouldn't be biased. We shouldn't be biased, but can we? Ew.
I mean, it's also not a very nice one.
Thoughts on us putting dictators as holy moly, but he's on big yuck. But no, in general, the Photoshop job is bad. It's just like choppy around his head. I can only just see his name.
He looks really sad.
The colour is horrible. It's actually genuinely a bad cover. It's bad.
Yuck. 6
cool.
feet under.
This is cool. I like this.
I like it, but I don't really know what it's about.
It is a bit tattoo studio, but I like it. Clear
gothic.
Logo. I presume it's a true crime. I like it.
Should we give it a B?
I'd
I know it's quite
A.
A.
I think it's good.
Okay, we'll give
but
it
if you don't like it.
Next up is Call Her Daddy, which is a big podcast right now.
I don't like this just because I don't think it goes with her brand. She wears a lot of like pink, I don't know why they didn't do like a pink and white
I
vibe.
like this one.
But there is a Saving Grace podcast that does that and it's quite similar. So I understand that to a point. I don't like the corner.
Spotify again.
I just don't think red was the colour.
Okay.
But I think the photo is great.
The photo is good. The logo placement's good.
I'm going to say like a B.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
Now this one we might disagree on. I love this.
What is this?
I don't
Candace?
know this podcast, but I'll tell you why I like it. It gives me like a 90s, early 2000s album cover. And I just love the way that looks on a design level. I don't know, I imagine that's probably what she's gone for.
What is it?
I don't know. And that's the thing. I don't know what genre it is. I don't know what she's talking about. So that is a bit of a detriment. But I do love the font. And so it's difficult.
I was going to say the font is a negative. Because
but the font
if we're giving
with the noughties.
that one, this one.
Yeah, but the font goes with a noughties kind of vibe.
It does, but if it's not readable.
I think at least a B person. I like that.
All right.
But
we'll give it a B.
It's not holy moly.
Whoa, where's that come from?
Whoa, well, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
That's literally crazy.
Out of fear of putting dictators as our only holy moly.
And I swear it's not favoritism, even though this is my favorite podcast.
It's one of my favorites, but that's not. I just genuinely think this is.
It sums it up perfectly. It has the two hosts there. They're doing because it's a cinema podcast.
Films.
They're watching films.
It looks great.
It's playful.
It's readable.
He's looking right at us, so it feels personal.
It's an original photo,
and the font as well is like a neon sign of like an old cinema. I like it.
There's even a projector behind it. I didn't even notice that before.
Sorry, but you're gonna have to press the button.
Perfection.
Press the button.
They get 2 holy molies.
I can't believe it. Dictators and Komodo Mayor staying.
If you want more information on what to do with your podcast, if this wasn't enough, then great news. Our sister company, Matchmaker FM, has a brilliant blog post with like 12 or 13 tips on this. We actually got a lot of the tips for this video from that article. So simply head over to amplify.matchmaker.fm/podcast artwork to view that, or just head into the description to find more about that. There's loads of examples as well from our other sister company, Q Podcasts, who produce podcasts, so they know a thing or two about this. And there's a few examples of their podcast artwork on there if you'd like to have a look at that. That's pretty much it. This has been a long one.
It has been a long one, but we hope you've enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, it's been special.
We certainly have, although we'll need a big glass of water because the yapping has been exponential.
Big
but
yapping.
Thank you so much for checking out Audio Insider. Obviously, if you enjoyed, make sure to do the usual protocol, hit subscribe on your podcasting platform, yada yada, so you can be notified of our next episode. Why wouldn't you want to be in the know about when our next episode is,
And also, while you're there, why not leave us a review? You can tell us if our podcast is or...
Please word it like that as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's very...
Just put holy moly.
Yeah, just holy moly.
We'll know what you mean.
And then we'll know. And that will bring joy.
Absolutely. And yeah, that pretty much covers us for this episode.
I think so. Well,
we'll see you next week.
Ta-ta. Bye.
Bye-bye.